New York jury says Donald Trump must pay writer E. Jean Carroll more than $83 million in a defamation lawsuit against him. The verdict was $18.3 million in compensatory damages and $65 million in punitive damages. Carroll sued the former president for comments he made in 2019 after she accused him of sexual abuse. A separate jury had already found him liable for defamation and sexual abuse. This case was to determine the financial damages. CBS News campaign reporter and lawyer Katrina Kaufman, as well as CBS News national correspondent Errol Barnett, both join us outside the courthouse. Katrina, what was the mood like inside that courtroom when the verdict was read?
There was a lot of suspense while we were waiting for the verdict to come out, and then once it did, I think that people were really impressed by the number that was awarded. E. Jean Carroll and her attorneys, they were holding hands when they were leaving. When everyone got up to leave the courtroom, they all went into a group hug. I think I saw Roberta Kaplan wipe a tear from E. Jean's face, and then she was really just glowing on the way out of that courtroom.
Errol, help us understand the numbers here, because there are eye-popping figures. So what exactly did the jury award her, and what do the figures represent?
Catherine, you're exactly right. And those eye-popping numbers are stemming from the emotion that came out of E. Jean Carroll's testimony and her narrative, that she's really felt that her life has been taken from her in the years since she went public with this claim of sexual assault. It's broken down, that massive number, into two main buckets: compensatory damages and punitive damages. I have the verdict form in front of me. That is the instructions for the jury to follow from the judge, and it tells them that, look, if you find that Ms. Carroll proved beyond a preponderance of evidence that she suffered more than nominal damages, what's the dollar amount? What's the dollar amount? And they calculated that at $7.3 million. The form also asks them to calculate the dollar amount as it relates to what it would take to repair her reputation. They calculated that at $11 million, and that's how we get to the $18.3 million level for the compensatory damages. And then it goes on, and this is the real juice of the judgment, so to speak, to ask that if they find that the former president acted with ill will, that he was reckless, and that he was effectively purposefully nasty — that's my wording, not in the form — what dollar amount would it take to stop him? And the punitive amount was $65 million. That's how we get to this $83.3 million. Really quite a stunning judgment and number. And also, Catherine, it took the jury fewer than 3 hours to get to this number, so a unanimous decision with very little friction after what's been quite a remarkable trial.
Errol, just a quick follow-up before we bring Katrina back into the conversation. So that $63 million is essentially designed to shut down the former president, right?
Exactly right, and that is an open question. Will it work? The jury saw testimony where he said he was worth billions of dollars, that his brand unofficially is worth more than that, and so now we will watch to see if Donald Trump mentions her name, sticks to his story as he did in the courtroom, despite this quite massive judgment against him.
Katrina, I want to bring you back into the conversation. You were inside the courtroom for the closing arguments. What stood out to you?
There were a lot of striking moments. During this trial, Donald Trump's team really tried to paint the picture that Carroll's reputation was in a lot of ways boosted by her accusations against him, by these trials. And one of the first things Roberta Kaplan, Carroll's attorney, said is there's a big difference between being famous and being infamous. And, throughout the closing argument, she went on to talk about, even to this day, Donald Trump continued throughout the trial to make defamatory statements about Carroll, how the rules don't apply to him. And then a very striking moment today was Donald Trump then just stood up and walked out of the courtroom, and the judge stopped the proceedings for a moment to put that on the record, and the jury was watching this. Also, Roberta Kaplan put Donald Trump's own words back to him and said that it was time to now make him pay dearly, which is something that he once said about Carroll herself. On Trump's side, they've really always leaned on this 5-hour window that was between when Carroll's accusation came out in the cut and when Trump made his statement later that day. They also said that while they condemned the mean things that were said about Carroll, Donald Trump shouldn't have to pay for these things. They were said by other people on social media. Another thing that struck me is I've watched Carroll a lot when Trump was in the room during this trial, and during Sean Crowley, her other attorney's rebuttal, was one of the only times I've noticed her really turning around, not directly looking at him, but in his direction. Throughout the trial, she really was often just looking straight ahead, very stiffly when she was in the room. So I was struck by that as well as a comment that she made after this trial wrapped, which is that this is a great victory for every woman who stands up when she's been knocked down.
So, Errol, what happens next? Will there be an appeal, and will E. Jean Carroll see this $83 million?
It's a great question, Catherine. If we look back to last year's judgment in May, where Trump was found liable of sexual abuse and defamation of Miss Carroll, they awarded her $5 million in that judgment, and Team Trump is currently appealing that decision, so no payment will be made in the meantime. It's clear, based on Mr. Trump's statement and the statement from his legal team, that they will appeal this decision as well, and it very well could take a long time before Miss Carroll sees any of these funds. But again, it all comes down to his public statements against her and about her, because if he continues to make the point that there's no dollar amount that will keep him from defaming Miss Carroll, we could all be back in the same circumstance very soon.
Errol, Barnett, and Katrina Kaufman, thank you for your reporting at the courthouse and being with us throughout the afternoon for this breaking news. We appreciate it.